Pulling the Trigger is brought to you by Easy Vape North Shore, the industry's leading direct retailer of the highest quality personal vaporizers, e-cigs, vapes, and Canadian-made e-juice. Located at 987 Marine Drive in North Vancouver, or you can check them out online at www.easyvapecanada.com. Welcome to Pulling the Trigger. Opioid overdoses. I have personally known 60 people since about September 2016, maybe summer of 2016, who've died from drug overdoses. In 2016, 922 people died in the BC area. In 2017, 1,103 people died of opioid-related overdose. So, it's a serious issue in BC, worldwide really, but in BC specifically, particularly in Vancouver. I don't think I know anyone who doesn't know anyone who's died now. I've become so desensitized to it because every day when I turn on Facebook or something like that, maybe not every day, but 3 or 4 times a week, I see something, a notification of some kind that someone's died. Not all of them were great friends. Some of them I hadn't seen in a while, but some of them I had known quite well too. It's a variation of different degrees of relationship. I don't even get that upset anymore. It's just, oh, next. Oh, next. I'm desensitized to it. It happens so much. I don't even think I could function if I did get all attached to each and every death. I put it in perspective. I tell people this all the time. When I was in active addiction, so from 1995 to 2006, I was using hard drugs, cocaine and heroin, IV drug use, on the streets, downtown east side, dope fiend. And I don't think I knew 60 people died in all that time. 60 people who died in all that time. And I knew quite a few people who died back then, but it was more like 1 or 2 or 3 maybe a year. I think on a bad year it would maybe be 5. In 18 months, 60 plus people. And I stopped counting at 30 because I was starting to become fixated on how many people I've known who died, like I was keeping score. But I can just say roughly now, I know it's about 60. Because without even going through it in my head, I can just get there. And it's more than 60, that's the thing. Anyway, why do I keep on quoting these numbers? Why am I talking about fentanyl or opioid-related overdoses? Because today, you're going to meet Kyle. And Kyle is an active fentanyl dealer. When I invited him on the show, I thought he was just like a coke dealer. And I wanted to get him on to see how it's changed the climate in BC, the ecosystem as it were, in Vancouver, knowing that some of the drugs have been tainted. And when I got him here, I found out, as you'll hear in the interview, that he actually deals pure fentanyl. And you'll hear that that's actually become preferable to heroin for a variety of reasons, which I'll let the interview explain. My feelings on it were, well, you know, here it is. This is the people deal it, so I might as well meet someone who does it. And Kyle, we get into why he does it in his life, as we normally do on this show, and he talks about why he does this and how his feelings around it. And you know, when I got out of prison, I decided I had to go straight and I'm done with the life. And I'm not saying it was easy, but I knew I had to do it if I wanted to ever change my life and not die of a drug overdose or in prison or suicide or something like that. Not everyone who gets out of prison goes straight. In fact, most don't. Most stay in the life one way or the other. And I'm not here to judge. The point of this podcast is not to judge people, and I'm not here to confront people, and I'm not here to point people's logical inconsistencies out or their moral failings or anything like that, because I'm not one to talk. Now, do I totally... Sorry, my computer just did something stupid there. Do I totally agree with Kyle's reasoning for why he does what he does? No. I was able to get out of the life, and I looked for ways. I was determined to not be a criminal anymore or do crime anymore. But everyone's got their reasons, and I'm not really one to point fingers. I could have just as easily still be in prison not doing this podcast. So for the listeners, you make your own decisions about what he has to say. You draw your own conclusions. This will be one of the first of many quote-unquote controversial guests I'm going to have on this episode, on this show. So buckle up. I will be, as far as comedy goes, I will be opening up for Kenny versus Spenny November 23rd and 24th. November 23rd will be, which is the day this podcast will be released, will be at the Red Room in Vancouver. Doors at 7:30, show at 8. And November 24th is in Chilliwack, live in Chilliwack, and that will be at Main Street Nightclub. Tickets are on sale. Kenny versus Spenny. You can find them quite easily at myshowpass.com. So that's it for comedy. Let's meet Kyle, shall we? You're drinking, what is that?
Brown cow.
Is that a brown cow?
Like the Big Lebowski, romanticized.
Okay, huh. Well, I thought he was drinking White Russians.
I think White Russians have some vodka in them.
Oh, okay.
Makes it taste a little too boozy for me. Plus it's, 10 a.m.?
Yeah, well, I'm sitting here with Kyle, and he's having a brown cow, which is, what is it?
Kahlua and cream.
Kahlua and cream at 10 a.m. Like a man.
Or a woman.
Or a woman, or other. Right? It's 2017. How you doing today so far?
Fantastic.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So this is, my show is called Pulling the Trigger, and I have interesting people I think are interesting on my show. So what do you do?
I distribute dope throughout the Lower Mainland.
When you say dope, you don't mean marijuana, do you?
No. Marijuana is a thing in the past.
Yeah.
As you know, in our city, the dispensaries have more or less made the value of marijuana so minute that it's not, the smell of it is overbearing.
Right.
And it will alert the authorities to the stuff that's actually worth money that's in your center console.
So what do you sell?
MDMA, coke, heroin, in the summer, mushrooms, acid. Sometimes I'll do a stint at Rack Beach. But I used to drive around in the middle of the night, but now I have kids, so I have more or less a home-based business. I kind of keep banker's hours. I mostly deal with fentanyl addicts.
Fentanyl addicts. Do you sell actual fentanyl?
I don't lie about it anymore.
Right.
There was a transition period where it was just kind of a blanket statement called down, and now there's kind of two forms. There's Purple Pebbles, which I'm sure you've heard of. I'm
actually so out of the loop. This is how bad of a drug addict I am, ex-drug addict. Yeah. I'd get burned if I went to go buy something now because I don't know what any of it is. So what is Purple Pebbles?
So Purple Pebbles are what's are kind of like the driving force behind the overdose trend downtown that's being attributed to laced narcotics, which is a full-blown crock of shit.
Oh, we'll get to that in a minute, but yeah.
Okay, so Purple Pebbles are fentanyl, more or less in the purest form you can get them without having to wear a gas mask.
Right.
If you go down to Main and Hastings, it's kind of like, you know how it used to be kind of centralized in front of the Carnegie.
Right.
Now it's kind of moved over to the alley north across the street where the crystal meth kind of ghetto is there, and that's where the Purple Pebble sales go on midday. It's fentanyl in its purest form that I can obtain, and it's what the kids are screaming for.
Wow. So people want fentanyl now.
Absolutely. As a dealer in opiates, I was loath to get into the fentanyl trade. I was people called me a martyr for the cause of heroin. I was the last. I was a straggler. I didn't want to, but it's reached full market saturation. Like if you have a kilo of heroin now, you may as well pave a road with it. Nobody wants it.
I guess it's because fentanyl's stronger, right?
It's stronger. It's cheaper.
Right. Okay, well, okay. Whew. Right off the top, so much information, but I have a structure I have to follow. How long have you been doing your job for?
Well, I started selling pills, pot, and acid when I was 14. Went away to jail between ages 15 and 19. I got out and have promptly started again and have been doing it ever since. I'm currently 38 years old.
Sorry about that. Just had to put the ferrets away. She would have been. They're going to mess everything up.
Yeah, I have some chips here. She was told.
So you went to jail between which ages did you say?
Between 15 and 19.
15. Were you locked up straight? 15 and 19.
Yep.
Okay. 15, 19 is a Willingdon.
Yep.
Yeah. What were you locked up for?
Manslaughter.
Oh, nice. Yeah. You're the second killer I've had on this show now. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. It was a
dark and stormy night.
Well, it was actually somewhere. It was kind of a confusing thing. It wasn't really my deal. It was we kind of had this good thing going. This is a big story.
Yeah. So, however much or little you want.
Okay, so we kind of we were wannabe gangster kind of kids, and
sorry, let me interrupt. Where'd you grow up?
East Vancouver.
East Vancouver.
Yeah.
Like back when it was actually
back when it was East Vancouver.
Yeah.
So we had this one gentleman that we hung out with who was 18, unfortunately,
and you're 15 at the time,
and we were 14 at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. And he admired my girlfriend, and she was sexually assaulted by this guy months and months previous.
The 18-year-old.
The 18-year-old was longing for my girlfriend.
Right.
And my girlfriend had been sexually assaulted months and months previous by this guy. And this same 18-year-old hosted this party where they were gambling, and there was large amounts of money left out, and everyone passed out on heroin. And the same accused rapist absconded with a bunch of the gambling money in the middle of the night. Upon waking, the 18-year-old was incensed. He said, he has to die for the rape and for the money, and we lured the guy out, saying, let's go break into some cars, and he came out and we stabbed him to death, which is a large undertaking. It's not what they show in the movies.
No, it's actually hard to kill someone.
Yeah. And the person's screaming and pleading for their life, and it's
Did you mean to kill him?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In every sense of the word.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I aged out.
Right.
The 18-year-old did 11 years.
Right.
Yeah. Whereas I did the better part of 4.
So you were in Willingdon. How old are you now?
38.
What years were you there?
92 to 97, 96.
You were there when I was there.
Huh. Yeah. I was almost exclusively alone. Yeah.
Right.
And I knew Kelly Ellard was in the girls' side because the Rena Burke thing. I knew she was there.
Yeah. Yeah, I was there. I was in and out though all the time because I was a property criminal. I was just a little scumbag. Little rubby bits.
I was a little bitch too. Like I was a nobody. But
Were you a heroin addict back then?
I was.
Yeah. And heroin user.
Yeah, and you were able to get yak. Did you know about yak?
No.
So there was kids in there that were on the methadone program
Wow.
that would puke out their methadone and strain it through a sock. And junkies like me who were junkies, like I'd buy their puke at exorbitant prices, but I sustained my heroin addiction all the way through buying people's puke.
I didn't start doing that until I was in adult jails. Fuck.
Was there yak when you were
In adult jail? Oh yeah, tons.
Yeah.
That was if I had money, or if I was going to score, and there was a paper of heroin, or I could get methadone.
Yeah.
Methadone every time.
Yeah, oh for sure.
Every time, because you
Oh,
woke
it's
up
got
high.
legs. It's
Yeah,
got
I
legs.
woke up high. It
Yeah.
was great.
Oh God.
Oh wow. Okay, so then you got out of jail.
Got out of jail, went on the methadone proper.
But you were an adult when you got out.
I was.
Yeah.
And I weaned myself off within a year. I was totally spick and span clean.
Okay, so then you're 18. You get out of jail. When would you do with your life?
I went right back to drug sales.
And been doing it ever
Well,
since?
while I was on parole probation, they forced me to have a warehouse job that I kept and excelled at.
Right.
But all the while, I did have my toes dipped in the community.
Right. I'm just putting these ferrets away again. They're scratching at the door. Okay, you guys. Ferrets scratching at the door. It's one of the reasons this place is a bit of a pain in the ass. Sometimes they sleep for like 2 hours though, so
Right.
like you can go undisturbed, but they woke up. So have you been doing it ever since?
Ever since, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Ever been pinched?
Never.
Caught?
Never.
For the layman?
Never.
Yeah, never. So
Never.
This is a job.
And
it's a
by,
career.
By and large, among my coworkers, I don't know anybody that seriously, like among the people that do it in an organized way without violence.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that's been pinched.
You don't know anyone who's been caught? Oh wow.
Nobody. I mean, I've heard, friends of friends of friends in Abbotsford through the grapevine, where I guess in Abbotsford, it's conservative. I don't know.
Is it a matter of if you keep it to a certain level,
I
you're
believe
probably going to be okay?
I believe if you rise too fast,
Yeah. Or you're selling it on the street.
or you're selling it on the street, there's some fragile tension that you
Yeah.
break and you sink right back.
So
down.
there's a sort of delicate kind of vector.
Exactly.
Where like if you just hit right there, you'll probably be okay.
If you stay in that sweet spot and you don't drive your car after midnight,
Right.
if you don't drive, an Escalade, down side street, there's just simple rules.
What's the largest amount you'll sell? Like an ounce?
Yeah, I
Okay, let's. I don't want to break it down drug by drug because whatever, that we'd be here all day. But like, what if someone called you up in this hypothetical situation? We know
Yeah.
they're not a cop, and they said, "I want to buy a pound of coke."
that would take a couple of days.
Right. Okay. So you're not just ready.
I'm not a kilo boy.
You're more of a. The people you sell to, what do you think they do with their dopes? Do they then sell it to again, or are they mainly users?
There are 2 or 3. Well, and it depends on the time of month. Around welfare time, I have to become like an ipso facto manager, and say, okay, you owe me X amount. I'm going to front you this amount, and you need to sell it because you're so far in the hole that your welfare check isn't going to cover it.
Right.
And I have to go down and kind of manage that, which is a good day job. But yeah, so the largest amounts I'll deal in daily traffic with heroin is, well, fentanyl is 2 grams. I mean, that's like the absolute.
So yeah, you're the level that just deals with mainly users.
Mainly
or
users.
or smaller time.
Absolutely.
Dealers.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So. Okay, you've been doing that. You were 18. You're 38 now.
38 now.
You've been doing it since you were 18. 20 years.
20 years.
Wow. Is it union? Any benefits?
Yeah, no. They don't even pretend. They don't say, "Oh, we're going to take care of your family when you're in jail."
No.
All your legal costs are.
Oh, do you work, quote unquote, for someone?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not just a matter, because I know you could do it. Well, there's probably more than these 2 ways, but the ways I was never a dealer, eh? I was just a user. One time I tried to sell drugs after 20 minutes when no one had called us to buy anything. I used all of it, so let's just do a robbery. But like I know there's ways you could like work for someone, or you can just purchase it and then you're not on the hook for anything. So
This
if
is
you
true.
don't mind me asking, which way?
I purchase up front,
Yeah.
but I still have to purchase from the same mother organization.
Right,
So
gotcha.
it's not like I can just go and get the same deal from
Right.
some new group, because I've been with the same group for that amount of time.
But if you get caught, you're on your own.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not like the mafia in the movies.
No.
That's all bullshit anyway.
That's
I've never
complete
really met-
bullshit.
Yeah.
Complete bullshit. I mean, maybe if you're several rungs up, I don't know.
But you're just a.
But as far as I'm concerned, no.
So are you just a grunt, basically?
I would say I'm a. I mean, when we go out to the Fortune Sound Club,
Yeah.
I get a velvet rope.
Okay.
But that's about all I can say for
The perks.
kudos that I've received
Right.
in life,
Right.
which is not saying much.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how come not a regular job?
Fuck. I've tried. I have tried, and there's just some people that are good at it. Like, I used to live next door to this guy named Stu, and he was like a clock. Like, you could just set your time, and it didn't matter how hungover, how if he was getting laid by the most gorgeous woman, he would go to this shitty construction job no matter what. And for me, it's always been like, no, wait, the sun's out, like it's summer. I'm not fucking going to work. I hate to play the role of interviewer, but have you been able?
Oh fuck! I have a terrible work ethic. I hate work.
Absolutely.
But okay, just to be candid, I knew I couldn't do crime anymore when I got out. It's too. If I do, I can't break the law,
Right.
Because it's bad if I do it. And
Yeah.
also, I when I got out of prison, I was like, I'm done with the life.
Totally
Turned my back on it. I'm done, which was hard because I didn't have anywhere to go.
Yeah.
I didn't have the old buddies or anything like that, so it was like basically blank slate, which
Yeah.
is actually difficult, right? But I just couldn't do the life anymore.
Yeah.
So when I hear someone who's actually able to or do you still do heroin?
Once a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're wired?
Wired?
Wired. Like to get sick if you don't do it?
Oh no.
No, okay.
No,
so
no.
yeah. Amazing. I'm like, holy fuck, right? Like how do you break the law, only use once in a while, and not end up in prison or in a back alley with a needle in your arm?
Well, I've never tried the needle.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Get out of my house.
I know. That's what everyone's saying. You're a waste. You're killing the supply for everyone.
Yeah.
You're wasting time. I've always snorted it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have this fast chick that comes. Maybe not anymore, but I had this fast chick that would come over, and we'd mix it up a little, do a little coke and a little smack. But it was a once in a month thing. Mind you, I haven't seen her in a couple months.
It's probably over.
It's over. Yeah, she had a lot of issues, but
I
so
get
do
that
I.
one too. Yeah. That's my pool. But anyway, so it just works.
It works
hard.
The first and only time I got really sick were when I was thrown in jail for the first time for my stint. And when I came out, I wasn't fully clean, and I was on the methadone. I was still chipping. And chipping, I guess, is the term for when you casually use, but to the point where it's bordering on addiction. And I was living on Bowen Island, and it was fucking Christmas. And I had kids.
I can't imagine it's easy to score heroin on Bowen Island. I've been surprised by other things, but
Yeah, no, it's not the ideal spot. So it was Christmas Eve, and I ran out, and I came to the city, and I still couldn't. It was Christmas Eve. They were just like, no, you can't buy heroin on Christmas Eve. Sorry, bub.
what the fuck?
And so I had to face Christmas with my wife and kids, like shitting the bed, sick.
So did your wife and kid?
She didn't
You were
know.
carrying a habit she didn't know.
She didn't know.
No.
And she was just like, oh, are you sick?
So, for those just tuning in who are forgotten or anything, we're talking to Kyle. He's a drug dealer. So, growing up? What was your life like?
Tumultuous. Biker dad, but not like a cool biker, like kind of like beat his wife, and just uncouth asshole. No, not like a cool toy drive biker, but like a scum of the earth biker. We originally lived in the States, in California, where he was kind of like a hot shot. Then he got the cops on him, and we had to move up here. And he was extremely abusive to my mom, a little bit to me. And mom and dad broke up, and I moved out of the house when I was 14. My first marriage was when I just got out of jail. Then I had another marriage at 22. Yeah.
Is that which marriage is the? Were you married to the mother of your kids?
I was. I still am. I still am married to her,
Okay.
technically.
Is that the 22 when you married at 22?
Correct.
Person? Oh, yeah.
Correct.
And you saying she didn't know you were?
She had no idea.
The whole time.
The whole time.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. Well, heroin's one of those drugs,
If you have it, you can function, right?
Yeah.
As long as you don't get too gacked on it.
That's
you can,
it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Is she a normie? Like square?
She wasn't a square, but her experience with heroin was just zero.
Right.
Like I met her. Well, I shouldn't say where I met her. She was in the sex trade when I met her.
Right.
And she was extremely familiar with the look of cocaine use. But
Most people are. Heroin's one of those ones I notice a lot of people don't know anything
She
about
had
it.
no idea,
Yeah.
no idea. And when I first, when I came to her later on in life with heroin, her reaction to it was just awful. Like she was one of those people that she didn't get any of the good effects. She was just puking and she was like, I hate this stuff.
She ended up trying it eventually.
Courtesy of me.
Right. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There's a special place reserved in hell for people who turn people on.
That's what they say. Your worst enemy is the first person that puts it in your hand.
I've only ever, I don't know what it's like, but back when the circles I ran, someone always had to do it, so we're a bunch of hypocrites, but like, you weren't ever supposed to stick a needle in someone's arm for the first time. Right?
Yes.
But if he's buying,
right,
and he really wants to do it, fuck.
Right. You right. Let him fuck it up.
Yeah. So everyone had to have it stuck in your arm the first time, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyway.
That was I never crossed that barrier.
No,
so that's still a virgin that way. Were you a
IV?
IV?
Fucking the first time I shot dope was 15.
Ooh.
In my comedy, I joke about being a heroin addict, and I was, but my favorite thing was actually shooting coke.
Right.
In comedy, I change it up to heroin just because if I say cocaine, it doesn't give it
the same.
No, heroin gives it the image they need because a lot of people don't even know you can shoot coke. They're like, you can shoot coke. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, you haven't been. So, but yeah, I like. Don't get me wrong, I liked heroin, but my favorite thing was shooting coke.
Right. So you used heroin more just to taper down.
Sometimes if I only had $20, I knew I'm not gonna have a good night if I shoot. If I do a fix of coke, it's going to be a bad night.
Right.
Because I'm going to get high, but
then
it's going to be rough for the rest of the night, so I just do heroin. But, no.
Yeah, I've met many a person that didn't even realize they were addicted to heroin because they only used it to combat the cocaine psychosis. Yeah. And then when they quit everything, they were like, whoa, I'm having night sweats. And
what's this all about? Yeah.
What's this all about? And they realized they were dope sick from heroin, and it's time to get on the methadone program.
Yeah, methadone was the last drug I did. I got clean. I got off that in 2006.
Yeah, I
ever been on it? Like you have. Yeah,
I have. But it was the old stuff. It was the stuff in Tang, and I from what I see, this new methadose, it's not working. Like
isn't it stronger?
It is, but they give you proportionately less. So. 10 milligrams of methadose is 100 milligrams of methadone, but from what I hear, the new stuff doesn't have legs. Like it doesn't, like how you and I said, it's such a, you wake up in the morning and you're still like, wow.
Yeah.
The new stuff is not. It's like a divided opinion. Some people are like, oh, it's the fucking same, and other people are like, no, dude, it's not the same. And I tend to believe the people who are saying that it's not the same because they're exhibiting the symptoms of it not being the same.
Right. Do you find your job dangerous at all?
No, but I think in Surrey and Abbotsford, I think it is. But here's what I'm hearing, is that people are killing each other over phones. Their goal is not robbery or taking down the enemy. It's taking that client base, which is just it lives in the phone, and taking that. So I know a guy who was stabbed a bunch of times, and he was saved by his seat belt because the knife didn't puncture very well through it.
So listen, kids, always wear your seatbelt. You never know when you might get stabbed.
Yeah, this class clicks. Always wear your seatbelt. So, and he was convinced he was being robbed for his dope, but they just wanted the phones. So he has 2 phones, one for in calls, one for out calls, and they just took the in calls.
This is our phone. This is our client base.
This is our client base. You know, you can't get it back. Once the phone's gone, it's gone.
So much different than when I was using. Okay, so when I was using 90s,
Yeah.
90s, early 2000, I was never much of a call the dealer up guy. I was more of just score downtown guy. But when I did call the dealer up, it was mostly Asians.
Yeah, it's still.
Is it? I thought it was white people now.
The Asians are still with the fentanyl. There's a major comeback with the Asians.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, just like everything else in
Yeah.
Vancouver, they're
Yeah.
taking over.
God bless them.
Yeah, entrepreneurial. And this shit that you're talking about wasn't that common. Like dealers that get robbed and stuff like that, but it wasn't. It was usually by a user or
Right.
something, right? Just and there. I don't know if there was like turf type things like what you're talking about. It was because it seemed to be back when I was using. No, I was never connected, right? So I don't know, but I'd hear things and it'd be like certain people ran certain things, certain people ran other things, and it was kind of there was a peaceful coexistence for the most part. There wasn't a lot of killings.
I
or
think
anything.
that's still true.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, go on. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
There's a peaceful coexistence. The odd murder would happen, but that was usually okay. So back when I was doing it, certain group ran the heroin, certain group ran the marijuana and cocaine, and they seemed to. They didn't cross paths much, but I think they had a one didn't want the other. They didn't want to deal in the other. So,
Right.
and when there was murders or anything like that, it was actually killing one of their own because they fucked up or something like that.
Yeah.
This is as much as I know. I don't know.
I think your experience is pretty still typical
Okay.
for what I see today.
Right.
Murder is really bad for business.
Yes.
Like it's just it's the last thing anybody wants to do. And you're right, it's more of a culling thing than any rivalry bullshit. I don't know. I don't know what the bikers are doing these days, but they seem to be in Vancouver. I don't.
You don't hear much.
I
about
don't
them.
hear much about them.
It was triads too, and
Yeah.
you don't hear much about them either.
No.
I was in the joint with some, but like I don't know. You didn't know what they did or anything like
Yeah.
that. I know there. I was in prison with one really powerful guy, and rumor had it that he was running things from there.
Yeah.
Just a polite old gentleman. He couldn't really speak English very well, and just
Right.
But I do remember that what they would sell junk inside, heroin,
Yeah.
and but what not like as in the drug market. It was when they needed something, like
Yeah.
they need food or they need to
Right.
and then they just all of a sudden you'd hear a rumor, there's heroin, but then once they got whatever they wanted,
It was gone.
stores closed. That's it.
Right.
And like, don't ask anymore. You'll have problems if you grind them or anything.
Right,
like
right.
that. And so yeah.
Interesting. I think those kind of lines still exist. So, in order to make the jump from old school heroin to obtaining fentanyl, I did have to deal with a different group, a different branch of the group I deal with, who are of a more Asian background. I think
We're being politically correct.
Yeah.
We're talking about fucking drug dealers. Welcome to Vancouver 2017, right?
Yeah.
They originated from, I don't want to.
But the Persians have always been up in cocaine, which
Right.
doesn't make any sense because that's not a cocaine growing region. So why the fuck would they have any say in cocaine? But in North Vancouver in the 90s, they were shooting like crazy. So I don't understand what or why, and to ask these questions is just to mark yourself as a fool. So I don't ask.
You just go to work.
I just go to work, and I'm old enough and having kids. Like I said,
Do you ever, because you have kids, does your line of work, do you ever worry about them? Like this is putting them in harm's way maybe, or like it might be bad influence on them?
I am terribly, terribly worried about that. My older son is old enough to know what the fuck is going on, and he likes it a little more than I'd like him to, and he's a little more observant than I'd like him to be. But a spade is a spade. My uncle, before me, sold heroin. That's how our family got into this country. I'm not ashamed of what I do, and what I do has never directly, caused me any problem. My only problem was when I fucked up and got into violence. But the boy is 13, and he definitely
He can see what's going on.
He can see what's going on. Yeah, and it's scary because all of a sudden he's like, does it really matter if I graduate, Dad? And I say, yeah, it fucking matters. You want to be a lawyer. You want to do something. He's like, but you seem so happy. What do you do? What do you go to Dr. Pollock early, avoid this kind of conflict.
Yeah, that's another thing Kyle and I have in common. So we're drug addicts. Me, X, him, somewhere on the continuum, right?
Somewhere on the continuum.
We've been to jail, and we both had vasectomies.
Yeah, by Dr. Pollock.
Yeah.
Was he playing AC/DC when he did you?
No, he just asked me questions, and then it was done.
Yeah.
When did you get yours done?
Right after my second child was born, so I'm going to say 2010.
Fairly recently then,
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
I just got mine done last year.
Yeah. Filipino nurses.
Yeah. On Broadway and Oak area, or in between Cambie and Oak.
Yeah. I wonder what he dreams of.
Yeah, I found that the procedure itself didn't hurt that much. A little bit. It wasn't completely pain-free.
No.
It was the healing it felt like I got kicked in the nuts for about a month.
A month for you,
About
eh?
a month. It felt there was an ache there for about a month.
Right.
Yeah.
And how were you fucking regularly?
They said wait a week. I waited 3 days.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And but I just had to be a bit gentle.
Yeah.
And then but then after the month, done. I did the tests.
Yeah.
I'm sterile.
Yeah.
So.
I'm sterile too, and I never looked back, man.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. No shit. It's so for those of you who don't want kids or are sick of kids, Dr. Pollock.
Dr. Pollock, man, miracle worker.
Yeah. In fact, if you Google vasectomy Vancouver,
that's all you'll get.
He's the man.
He's got the monopoly.
Yeah.
He's cornered the market.
Yeah. I didn't know it was covered by medical.
Yeah, well, I wish circumcision was too.
It's not.
No, it's fucking blasphemy. If you're of the Jewish faith, you should be incensed.
Yeah.
Did
you get circumcised too?
Well, no, I am circumcised, but I wanted my kids circumcised. My ex didn't. And I was like, well, then that makes you have more experience with uncircumcised cocks than I do. You're going to have to teach them. She's like, okay. And now that we're divorced, it's like, well, you're not holding up your end of the bargain.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you talk to your ex-wife, mother?
Only via text.
Just to do
strictly here are the
this
kids.
time, 6 p.m. kind
Correct.
of. Yeah.
Or if we get into a fight, it'll be, fuck you.
Well, one thing I can say is dealing with women, especially the pool that I dip into, which sounds like it's a similar pool. I bet we've crossed swords a couple times.
Yes.
And for the male listeners, this is a tip, and for the female listeners, plug your ears. Communicate via text. That way, they can't say you said something that you didn't say.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And
if they screenshot it, you can go, well, here's the rest of the conversation.
That's right. And don't ever alter your text. Don't try to delete it and tailor the conversation, because if she catches you doing that, you're fucked.
Yep. So, and I mean, I don't even have kids to worry about, but I've just had enough instances where I'll hear back a few months later about some transgression I apparently did.
Right.
And I'm not even saying I was completely innocent, but it's like, that's not what fucking happened, and that's not what I fucking said either.
Yeah.
Then I have the history, and I'm like, this is what happened. They're like, oh man, that's not what she's saying. I'm like, yeah.
All
Phone calls are dodo bird, man. I don't. Even if I get, what are you doing? Text me.
Yeah. No, and people ask me, oh, why don't you want to talk on the phone? Oh, fuck. It's a liability.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, what's a day in your life look like?
So I catch the downswing. So my coworkers, the line usually stops around midnight.
What does line mean? Just
dial-a-dope line.
Right.
I don't drive. So what happens is I live really central on the freeway, close to several SkyTrain stops. And when the people who are still awake from the night before decide at 4 or 5 a.m. that they want to keep the party going, or that they have to go to work and that, they can't go in an advanced state of cocaine psychosis, or they need heroin before work, I'm there. I start at 4 a.m. I close my doors at 2 p.m.
So 4 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's your shift.
That's it. Banker's
So
hours.
are you on work right? Are you at work right now?
I am.
Oh wow. Am I holding up business?
My phone's buzzing in my pocket.
Okay. Yeah. Fuck you guys. I'm sick. Yeah. We've all been sick.
Yeah, we've all been sick.
You'll be okay.
I'll get. You know what? Actually, it's actually this area that lights up.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah.
So 4 a.m. to 2 p.m.
2 p.m.
And do you meet people, or do they have to come to you?
They have to come to me.
Right, because you don't drive.
I don't drive.
Like, you don't have a license, don't drive?
No, I have a license, but I'm not willing to I've learned if my kids, if I were to get caught, I'd lose custody of my kids.
Right. So the driving is a thing that's...
It's out.
Right.
It's because the police, in order to stop an individual citizen on the street, they need some pretty rock solid evidence.
They can stop cars though, right?
Very easily.
Because that's the deal when you have a license, is they're allowed to stop your car and check if you have a license.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right.
So they don't even need a knocked out taillight.
Another thing I learned is technically driving in a car is a public place.
It is.
That's why if you
masturbate there.
Yeah, if you masturbate, or so sex work used to be, the laws are different now, but it used to be, as long as you did it indoors privately, it wasn't illegal.
Yeah.
But if you did it if you picked up a hooker on the street, that's illegal because it's a public place. Or if you have sex in a car.
It's the communication between from your lips to the street, that communication is completely illegal.
Yep. Interesting. So this is
yeah.
So there was something I was gonna say. I had a question. Oh. So all this fentanyl stuff, you and I have talked about it online.
Yeah.
What do you think about all of it?
I
like the overdoses, I mean, yeah.
It breaks my heart. I hate it. It was by far not what I wanted, but it was not what I saw for this business. I fought it. I fought it at every opportunity. I fought it. But this stuff is here by popular demand. This is not dealers imposing their will on Vancouver. This is Vancouver saying, hey, we heard about what happened over in Europe. We want that stuff. Or, these patches were around a few years ago where people were cutting them up into 16.
When I first got out of the joint, that's when I heard about fentanyl. I'd never heard of it.
And they were patches, right?
You cook it up in the spoon and you can extract it from the patch.
Right, and it was...
That's what I heard. I heard it was really strong. I heard what people would say to me is it's so strong it's measured in micrograms.
That's right, like LSD. Absurd. So I, to this day, I'm not a fan of it. It's hard to keep it in my house. Like when I open a package of it, I have to wear a gas mask. I don't like it. I wish that... I'm telling you right now, if you live in a city where fentanyl is not killing everybody, it's coming soon. And when it does come, you're gonna wish to God that heroin is going to be as romanticized as opium and old leather.
You know what's interesting is I remember back when I was doing heroin in the 90s, the only cities in Canada that had heroin were Vancouver and Montreal. And Montreal didn't have much of it.
Yeah.
And it's just because it was hard to import and pain in the ass. I can see fentanyl becoming more popular because you can mail order it.
Absolutely.
Right? Is that how it comes in mainly?
It comes in.
So you don't need to get a tanker and a fucking boat or any of that shit.
A package the size of this
Kahlua bottle.
Kahlua Mickey is enough for the eastern seaboard for a month.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't, and it's not like you need to deal with 15 different people to do it, right?
Right.
You just contact the.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. It's all pretty streamlined, but the effects are awful. Like no dealer wants dead clients, and that's the thing is you wind up with dead. Heroin was really predictable. You know, if you had Vince or Nelson buying off you for 10 years. You could for sure say for the next 10 years, Vince and Nelson were going to be buying off you for the next foreseeable 20 years. That's not the case anymore. Vince is probably going to be dead. Neil is probably going to be dead. Nelson's going to be dead, and it's not what any dealer wants.
Okay, why sell it then? Why not just say I'm not selling that shit?
They'd go to Joe Blow that has it.
So supply and demand.
Supply and demand.
If you don't do it, someone else will.
If I don't do it, somebody else will. And if I had, which I had a bunch of heroin. I was like, what the fuck? Why isn't it moving? And it was just simple facts. Like people were buying Purple Pebbles.
And what's the Purple Pebbles again?
Purple Pebbles.
It's fentanyl.
It's fentanyl in its purest form. I don't know. I don't know exactly how they get it to that form, but it looks like nerds, like purple nerds.
Candies.
Yeah, and it comes usually in a finger of a latex glove, and it looks like a bunch of balls in the finger of a latex glove, and each ball weighs about a point, and
1/10 of a gram.
1/10 of a gram, and 1/10 of a gram is more than enough to kill your average human being.
Wow.
But I've seen people jam 3 into their neck.
They have a tolerance.
They have a tolerance, and they're also using it in conjunction with crystal meth,
right?
Which is really vigorous stimulant.
It's so amazing because crystal meth was when I went to prison in the early 2000s. Crystal meth was just starting to become popular,
right?
But it wasn't on the street.
No,
like if you went downtown on Hastings, there was no.
People would look at you like you were a fucking retard.
Now it's all crystal meth down there.
Absolutely, and crack is like the bastard stepchild. No one's saying rock anymore. They call it side. Crystal meth is called side.
Jesus.
And it's like Sodom and Gomorrah down there.
It looks. In some ways, it looks worse.
It does.
And there's more overt mental illness down there now.
God.
And I think that's because of the crystal meth.
It is. Yeah. It is. And the people picking at their toes with pliers or the blood and the smell even has gotten.
There's less people overall. I don't know where they all went, but it looks worse. And it's more concentrated. They've kept it down to like a certain
one fucking block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In front of the safe injection site.
Exactly.
And then a bit further on the next block where the market is.
Where the market is. That's right.
That's where the pop-up safe injection site is.
Yeah. I do like that market.
Ever sold anything that killed anyone?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
Terrible.
So you, just to put it in, give it a visual. Someone called you up. You sold them dope. They stopped calling you.
They stopped calling me forever.
Okay.
Yeah, and there is a guy that I went to elementary school with, who he's personally died from my product 27 times.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know lots of people have OD'd tons of times. 'Cause I'm in recovery, so I see people what we call come in and out, which means they've relapsed and come back to recovery, and they'll tell me about. I OD'd this many times, or I volunteer at a detox sometimes, and I'll be like, I went down 6 times in 1 week. And stuff like that.
Went down means your heart stopped.
Yeah, I know, they were dead. They were dead. and they get revived and they leave the hospital and go right back downtown.
Right back to it. Well, and not only that, sometimes they're incensed when they get revived. They're like,
sick,
"Fuck you!" Yeah, and they're out the $20 or whatever.
It's fucking crazy. So you've killed people.
I've killed people.
Right.
Well, yeah, and yeah.
Interesting. Well, so you and I have talked online.
Yep.
Look, notice how I just. No big deal. I'm not shocked by it or anything like that.
No.
It's like so
Fair on
what
with
are
the
your hobbies?
conversation. Yep.
What are your hobbies? Do you have hobbies?
Yeah, I'm an illustrator. What else are my hobbies? I illustrate. I read. Because of my time in prison, I read voraciously.
Yeah, because you sound like you're educated.
I'm uneducated, but my vocabulary is developed because of reading fiction in prison. I mean, really, having 2 kids and my... I'm not going to say that. I have my kids more or less full-time. So my hobbies are kind of relegated to...
Being a dad.
Being a dad.
Yeah.
I illustrate, I read, I parent, I try to date unsuccessfully.
You and I have talked about that. We both had our go-arounds.
Oh boy. Man.
I find dating in this town, like, people say, oh, it's terrible and it's horrible. I see what they mean. Like, I'm not bragging, but like, I'm just an outgoing person, right? And I'm not scared of rejection.
Me neither.
I meet people.
Yeah.
The thing I find the most frustrating as a straight male in this town is that, like, everyone's going to have their complaints. This is mine, and this is a lot of guys I know who it is. I'm like very expendable.
Yeah.
I can go out on a date, have a great time with a girl, and then just never hear from her again. She totally ghosts. And then if I go, hey, what happened? They'll get mad at me sometimes, right?
Then
I don't owe you anything. It's like, whoa, right?
This literally just happened to me.
Right.
And this lady, she's my age, and we, man, there was a long courtship, and we went out, and we just had a great time, and I put my all into it, and I'm an outgoing guy too, and she ghosted me, and I was dumbfounded. I was just, what the fuck just happened? Like, we went to the Museum of Biodiversity, and then we just did these weird kind of activities, and we had a lot of really intense chats, and ghosted. Just like you said, very expendable. Absolutely.
And I think what's done this is social media and Tinder and things like that. Because I see it. I'll listen to females' conversations. Again, I'm just reporting the straight male version. I don't know. Like, women will tell you what theirs is, right? But I didn't like the way he pronounced a certain word. Because all they have to do is open up their phone, swipe right, and they've got another guy. Yeah. Right? And it's that simple.
Well,
right?
I've never gone on the female version to see what my competition...
Pretty much, if a woman's using Tinder, anytime she swipes right, she matches with the guy. Whereas with us, it's the
opposite.
Exact opposite, right? So what they have to do from observing and listening is they have to weed out the guys, right?
Oh my God.
Whereas we have to be like, well, I'll take whatever I can get,
right?
And weed
She's
them out
only
later,
230 pounds.
Yeah. Well, because if one matches with you, you got to see it through, where because you might not get matched for a while.
You're not gonna. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
And I remember you and I were chatting one time. You said this is maybe a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And you were pretty pissed at women at the time. You were like, fuck them. And you went and sought professional help when you needed your oil changed.
I did, and I still do.
Yeah. That for the layman, that means he sees a sex worker to have sex.
I do.
He gets horny.
I would say her name if I thought it was proper. Nope. She's in the area.
Oh, cool.
I still do. She, and you know what? She listens to me. Like, I don't mean like do this, do that, but like she listens to my gripes and my petty fucking I paid too much at the gas pump today or whatever. Not that I have to drive, but that kind of shit. And she's a dynamite fuck. And these these ladies that I've been seeing from Tinder or Plenty of Fish or whatever, I spend the same $100. You know, it's the same, except with her, it's a sure thing.
She'd probably at least tell you if she didn't want to see you anymore, too.
For
right?
sure, for sure. Or, you know,
I'm retiring.
Yeah. Not just ghost me.
Maybe even give you a referral.
Her sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. God. Yeah. So I get asked to comment on this overdose stuff all the time, right? And the whole question they always ask me is, what do you think we should do about it? My only answer really is quit using drugs. That's all I know. I haven't overdosed in 11 years.
Yeah.
Because I don't use drugs, right? What do you think about, because you're really on the front lines, what do you think would be something that people, quote unquote, could do about this? What could society, what could the community do?
You know, I honestly, I think these support places in the methadone program, I think that they're doing a fucking bang up job. I think the people that want to be in a situation where they continually overdose, that's a choice. People that want to get out of that, the channels are there. It's not that the city has some kind of poverty of services. Like we're wealthy in services. There's a legal morphine program. There's a legal heroin program. Like if you really want to be serious about it, you know, there's the Naomi project. It's still going on. Like people get 3 injections of medical heroin a day. Mind you, in my opinion, you know, those people are fucked. Like that heroin is of a grade that's like, whoa, you're not even fit to watch TV. Like these people are just cooked. But at this point in this city, we are our resources are so magnificent that if you're overdosing at this time, it's a choice. I don't think that any city could do any better. I don't think that decriminalizing cocaine or heroin is going to help matters. People are saying, well, you know, if it wasn't for the black market, this wouldn't happen. I don't think that's true. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I tend to agree with you because I think if we did decriminalize it, I think people would still be ODing. Probably the only difference would be they might not be dying as much because they wouldn't. There'd be, you know,
right.
They'd still be ODing.
Right.
Because it's now fentanyl. It's not heroin anymore.
Correct.
Right? And if they decriminalized cocaine and heroin, people are still going to want. Now fentanyl's the new player in town.
You can't get heroin.
So, and people have become accustomed to fentanyl.
Yep.
So they're not going to want heroin even if it's legal. They're going to, I want fentanyl.
So that black market's still going to be
right.
Yeah.
Or let's say they decriminalize fentanyl. Or deregulated it or whatever, because it is technically, it's legal if it's prescribed.
Well,
right?
yeah, but it's always just a dermal patch.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say they decriminalized it and somewhat regulated it. People are probably still going to be ODing, right?
Absolutely.
And I, as someone who's a recovering addict, I don't want to speak to anyone's experience because I know there's we get into situations for a lot of different reasons, but all I know when anyone ever asks me is, what do you think we should do? I don't fucking know because I got clean. That's it.
That's it.
My life was fucked until I got clean, and now it's not fucked. Anything else beyond that? Like, what about Suboxone? What about this? What about housing? I don't know.
No.
I got clean. That's all I did. Right?
I used methadone. It worked for me.
Yeah.
I've never tried Suboxone, but I hear good things.
Yeah.
But I don't understand it in general. Like
Suboxone, from what I understand, is basically it is methadone with naloxone.
Yeah. Right. So
and the naloxone is to prevent you from getting high.
Right.
And abusing it.
Yeah.
You can still do it. There's ways around it, of course. Right. So it's basically a pill, from what I understand, with a drug that's either methadone or similar to methadone in the center.
Yeah.
And then the naloxone is kind of around it. So if you try and crush it up, you won't. It counters it. Or something.
Yeah. Well, I know that the pills have a street.
And apparently you don't get high off of it, which is also bullshit.
Yeah.
Same
because
with methadone.
because the pills have a street value. So.
Well, and doctors always say the healthcare. It's one of the biggest lies they tell us. You don't get high off methadone. ask anyone outside of a methadone clinic, or someone who works at a methadone clinic who's not on the clock.
Or anyone lined up out of at a pharmacy at 6 a.m.
If I am taking a drug that I can't read a book because I nod off after 10 minutes, I'm getting high. Right.
It's a good medication.
Absolutely. So you and I have talked online about. You say that the media is misrepresenting the contaminated drug supply.
Absolutely.
So the media is saying that cocaine has fentanyl in it, heroin has fentanyl,
marijuana has fentanyl in it,
crystal meth,
ecstasy,
MDMA.
Yeah.
So is that accurate at all?
MDMA, you might want to take your testing wand to it.
Yeah.
Cocaine, you and I both know, to add a downer to an upper is counterproductive. So if you want weird results for your cocaine business, I guess you could add downers to it, but it's anti-capitalism, which doesn't fit with the credo of greedy drug dealer. So that doesn't make any sense. If there is presence of fentanyl in your cocaine, it's probably just because it crossed scales. Someone was weighing fentanyl before, and then they weighed your coke on the same scale, perhaps.
I've heard actually experts are saying, or whoever they're talking to say, are figuring that's actually more likely what's happening. It's not they're mixing
it's not
it
that they're no. That's a ridiculous.
But because it takes just such a small amount.
Such a small amount. Well, and I think it takes a very small amount for it to test positive.
Right. I know. Just to interrupt you for 1 second, I know a story of a guy. I think I kind of knew him. Anyway, he's a friend of a friend. They bought a flap of blow. Yeah. I think a half gram or a gram, whatever. Split it in 4. 3 lived, 1 died.
No shit.
Yeah, 1 guy got a hot spot of fentanyl.
Fentanyl.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stories like that, I don't personally know anybody who has such a drastic tale. I have heard of batches of MDMA where clearly the results seemed to be opioid related. I've also seen a lot of purple MDMA pills as of late, which is also kind of a dead giveaway. But as per your marijuana or your cocaine, except for the strange tale that you just told me, like I don't think it's gonna pop up in your weed or your. I mean, if you're buying from a reputable dial-up service that's not just Joe Blow at Pigeon Park, I think that the odds are pretty fucking slim that it's going to crop up in your coke. As far as my mother group, we have a money-back guarantee. Right. If you take your wand, and it doesn't matter what the volume is that we sold you, and if it should read positive for fentanyl, money-back guarantee. You give us our shit back, we'll give you your money back. That isn't going to happen.
So most of these deaths then are from people doing fentanyl, then you think?
They are from people expressly asking for fentanyl. They aren't just saying, oh, give me some heroin. They are people screaming for fentanyl. There's still people down there that are trying, the El Salvadorian guys in front of Carnegie, they still peddle a product that kind of looks heroin-ish. They're not going to be there much longer. Like, everyone just goes across the street for the Purple Pebbles.
Wow. Yeah. Times that have changed.
They have. They have. Do you remember when in the 90s when there was just Honduran dudes? Yeah.
They sold rock and spitballs.
Yeah.
And then I remember I went to jail. February or something, maybe early March 1997. I was only locked up for a little bit. Juvie. Powder, cocaine was on the street. I got out, it was all rock.
Yeah.
In just a flash. Short period of time. Yeah. All rock. You all of a sudden couldn't find fucking powder, and I'm like, I was a hype. I shot dope. I'm like, what the fuck? And I didn't know about the vinegar trick yet.
Right.
So I'm like, this is fucking bullshit, right? And then now, like, it's funny, like, the more things change, the more they stay the same. It's just some of the details are a bit different, right? So now it's not rock.
It's meth.
And I never, you know what's funny? I remember when I was doing dope down there, so crack was the main thing. You could find powder coke once in a while and heroin. People would say, we don't want meth down here. Yeah. Most of the people down here don't want to do meth. They don't like it, right? Yeah. And from shooting coke and shooting meth, you don't get the rush off of meth that you do off of coke.
No,
have you ever seen someone do a fix of coke?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not the same with meth.
It's not.
Have you ever smoked crack?
I have.
Yeah, so as you know, sometimes I have to explain it for people listening, right? It's like a conversation. But
it's like a pinball machine. Up in your head.
Boom. So for our listeners, when you smoke crack, it's like super duper. They call it a ringer. Like huge euphoria all at once. You hear voices and fucking lights and stuff like that. It's awesome. Shooting coke is that even stronger.
Yeah, right? that I can't speak on.
Yeah, but when you shoot or smoke meth, you don't really get that kind of a rush. Have you ever done meth?
I've done meth, thoroughly.
You don't get that rush though.
No, and it takes a good, 8 good big pulls of meth, and then about 20 minutes later, it kind of hits you that you're wired for sound, but there is no rush where you get that whoa, and then you have to take a shit and you get hard on it. There is none of that, but there is the 72 hours of masturbation after.
If that's your thing.
Oh yeah, for many it is.
Funny, stimulants always. Heroin makes me horny. Stimulants, nothing.
Way.
Yeah, but I can't come. Can't come.
No,
you put a gun to my head and I can't come. But stimulants, flaccid, can't do anything. I remember one time, this guy wanted to suck my dick and he was buying, so I let him. Right. Yeah. But it's like I thought it was funny because I couldn't get hard the whole time. I'm like, why? I couldn't believe he was into it because I'm like, nothing's even happening.
But he still kept going?
And he still kept going. I'm like, okay, man, like, you're buying.
Your ball game.
Yeah, but it was like, and he never complained or anything. And I'm just saying, I rationalize it like, oh, this doesn't count because I didn't get hard.
A chick would never be so game.
No. I don't think so. So, we've been talking for a while. I guess this is probably a good enough place to end it. For those of listeners who probably don't understand what you do, or why you do it, or anything about you, because some people are probably thinking, he's a father, why the fuck is he doing that? He sold drugs to people who've died. What would you like people to know?
Well, I'd like people to know that people die in industrial accidents. In my trade, I think that less people die than do in forestry. I have zero education. I didn't have a chance to get an education. There's no way that I could make enough to support 2 children in Vancouver in any other occupation that I'm qualified for, and also keep the same hours to raise 2 kids. And I know several other fathers, I shouldn't say several, a few other fathers that are in the exact same position. They do this because at the end of the day, you make a little more than $150, and the price of living in Vancouver, as you know, is it's not getting any cheaper, and it's also it offers the freedom of small business ownership, but the stability of a corporation. That's how I would package it.
Okay. Well, it's a good enough place to end, I think.
All right.
Thank you very much, Kyle.
Thank you, Mark.